If you are in the age group of 16 to 25, you don't know what the next 2 to 3 years look for you. This video is for you to make sure you don't make the same mistakes that 96% of the young adults make. What happens is that they don't end up making a lot of money, they don't actively chase happiness, and their passion is on a decline continuously. In case you're making the same mistakes like everyone else, I want you to remember the Japanese legend that says, if you get on the wrong train, get off at the nearest station. The longer it takes you to get off, the more expensive the return trip will be. So, having over 100,000 subscribers, having gone viral intentionally multiple times, and all of that with one of the highest paying tech job after graduating from this Pilani, I want to bring to your attention what I have learned from all of these experiences in the last 10 years about making money, about social life, about my passion, and most importantly, happiness. And it all begins with one core idea that is unshakable: moving out of your parents' basement. I know how ridiculous it sounds to you, but what I mean by this is actually move out of your comfort zone. I mean, think about it. The moment I said move out of your parents' basement, your brain instantly chose to defy this. You were not ready to accept it. You were simply not digesting it. And that's how the brain is conditioned to comfort and childhood. Staying in your comfort zone might feel efficient, but it's almost always a trap, because the longer you stay surrounded by familiarity, the less urgency you feel to change. And the less you change, the more you delay the life you are trying to build. And there's a lie we quietly convince ourselves in our early 20s, that staying home saves us, that working from our childhood bedroom in our parents' home, it's strategic, right? No rent, no bills, no distractions. I will save more. I will build it from here. But here's the truth. You're not saving money. You're paying with your growth. And that's the most expensive tax you will ever pay. Listen, I get it. It's scary to live. It's expensive. Rent in Bangalore is a nightmare. Food costs double, and emotionally, it's even harder. But the upside, the network, the chaos, the people you randomly meet at 9 p.m. who end up changing your trajectory, the upside is priceless. It's a funny story. When I was choosing a college, I had the option to stay close to my home. I got a good government college, very inexpensive fees, decent placements. It all made sense on paper. But deep down, I knew I wanted more challenge, because I had this voice in my head saying, if you really want to grow, you are going to have to break the version of yourself that feels safe. So I moved from West Bengal to Goa, from a small town rhythm to the unpredictable chaos of computer science and business planning. And that single uncomfortable decision changed everything. Changed my entire career trajectory. It wasn't just about the degree. It was the people I met, the late night hostel conversations, the exposure and the expansion of the mindset. The truth is that most of us are built with a middle class mindset, and that's killing your potential quietly, silently. And now, when I moved to Bangalore later on, yes, I spent more. Yes, my bank account bled. But for every rupee I lost in rent, I gained tenfold in proximity. Proximity to sharper people, to founders, to collaborators, to friends who thought big and executed even bigger. That's the thing nobody tells you. Rich people don't stay rich by saving. They stay rich by being in the right rooms. And you can't be in those rooms if you're still in your parents' basement planning your next move.
And a quick note, YouTube shows me that 83% of you watching aren't subscribed. If this already gave you a new perspective, hit that button. It's free for you, but it helps me keep creating high production videos like this. And honestly, if you're here often, you're already part of the community that we're building. Subscribing just makes it official.
Don't get me wrong, I've been in the same shoes you are right now. The question really is, how do you even build the conviction to take that leap of faith? How do you challenge the conditioning that has been holding you back? How do you build belief? And the answer for that is obsession. I know it might sound intense to some and more toxic to others, but I'm sorry. This is the reality. If you really want to win, and when I say win, I don't mean just get by, not just making rent, but win long-term, life-changing, freedom-enabling success. You have to be fucking obsessed. Whether it's content, coding, design, AI, business, freelancing, or flipping goddamn chairs on OLX. Obsession keeps going until the job is so good, people have no choice but to notice you. And I have seen you all. I work with so many editors, strategists, managers, people trying to make it. And I can tell instantly who's obsessed and who's just here to collect a paycheck. The biggest red flag of the non-obsessed kind is that they do the bare minimum. They will pull off a surface level job in the shortest time possible, only enough to say, I did my job. While the obsessed ones, they go down the rabbit holes at 3 freaking AM, not because someone told them to, but because something in their gut says, this could be better, this could be bigger, going the extra mile. And since we're talking about my life, let me give you a real example. Imagine you are the manager of my YouTube channel. I asked you to come up with 10 new content concepts. Now, if you're just here to tick a box, you will probably spend 2-3 hours, browse some trending sounds, give me a list and say, done. But if you're obsessed, you will dive into the analytics, talk what worked for 10 other creators, understand why it worked to the fundamental levels, reverse engineer virality formulas, maybe even call up a friend and test the hook on them. You will spend 10, 12, even 15 hours on the same task. Not because I asked you to, but because you can't leave it half-baked. Now, my friends, that is the difference. Obsession is all about the pursuit of depth. It's not a marathon, it's not a sprint, it's both. It's not how long did you work, it is how deeply did you care. And yes, in the beginning you will not get paid more for it. Nobody rewards you instantly for being obsessed, but obsession compounds. Obsession will lead you to over-deliver, and then you can master 3 important pillars of moving to the top 1%. You build the trust, you get the callbacks, you get the referrals. Eventually, you get the checks you dreamt about. So, if you're in the 18 to 24 or even 26 bracket and you want to win the long game, here's the first lesson. Forget comfort for a second. Pick something you actually care about and get obsessed with it, like really obsessed with it. Stupidly, irrationally, delusionally obsessed. And once you are truly not in a comfort zone, you need to ask your end goal. What is it? What do you have to be in order to achieve it? And what do you have to do today in order to achieve it tomorrow? Because see, if you want to be world class, if you want to be the apex player, the one people will throw money at without negotiating, you need one thing above all: high agency. No degrees, not even talent, but agency. Now let's explain this in the simplest way possible. Say you're working on my channel. I tell you, this video got a low click-through rate, fix it. Now a low agency person will instantly go, wait, what is the click-through rate? Can you tell me exactly what to do? Where should I start? I need a tutorial first. They are waiting to be handheld. They treat every problem like a task that needs to be explained, not a challenge to be conquered. But the same scenario, a high agency player will have a different approach. They will more likely say, alright, I don't know what click-through rate is, let me figure it out. One Google search, one YouTube video. Click-through rate means the number of clicks divided by the impressions. Next step would be to question, what really impacts click-through rate? Thumbnail, title, maybe even the first 5 seconds of the video. Then they dive deeper, study analytics, benchmark against other creators, split test thumbnails, maybe even A/B test hooks with ChatGPT to see which line stops the scroll. And by the end of it, they've not only solved the problem, they have upskilled, they have earned trust, and they have saved my time. And they have built a mental muscle that compounds for the rest of their life. Now that's an example of being high agency. It's the ability to figure shit out without waiting to be spoon-fed. It's trusting that even if you don't know something now, you can become the person who does. It's a quiet, dangerous confidence, that the kind that makes people look at you and go, damn, they just get it done. And guess what? In your 20s, this should be your number one priority. High agency people grow faster, they earn more, they get invited to bigger rooms, solve bigger problems, and eventually lead. Because if you can solve problems without being told how, you become irreplaceable, even with AI. Now, while chasing the high agency workflow, you need to constantly make yourself better. You need to keep questioning yourself on how to achieve things better. And if there's one pattern I've noticed while working with the top 1% of performers, they don't waste time thinking about the perfect way to do something. They just do it. and fix it on the way up. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's speed. Not speed for the sake of rushing, but the kind of execution velocity that takes an idea from spark to screen before self-doubt has time to wake up. See, most people treat their ideas like fragile little flowers. They hold them into their hands, overthink them, wait for the right weather, but by the time they're ready to plant it, someone else already grew a fucking forest. See, what I've learned working alongside epic performers, the kind who launches startups in weekends, run channels with millions of views, build AI tools while others are still watching tutorials, they don't sit with ideas. They run with them even if the first version sucks. Because speed beats perfection. And trust me, in the world going forward with AI, speed will be your only moat. Here's what nobody tells you. The longer you take to act on an idea, the louder your brain becomes at killing it. The voice shows up. This isn't good enough. Someone already done it better. Let me just plan a bit more. Maybe next week. You think you're optimizing, but you're just hesitating with style. In a world where AI can build what you're still ideating, hesitation is the most expensive luxury you cannot afford. You've probably heard the line, either be the best or be the first. But the truth, being first is actually way easier because the bar is lower, the pressure is less. You can fuck up fast, learn faster, and by the time someone else is ready to compete, you've already built the momentum. And momentum is a fucking moat. That's what speed gives you, a head start, a chance to fail before the world is watching, an opportunity to get sharp while everyone else is sitting deciding their font. Take work smarter, not harder. I absolutely hate that phrase. The reason why I dislike it is that there is kind of a hidden suggestion there, which is that you already know what smarter is. So just do that. That actually things should be easy. You should just not have to try that hard. You should just do the quick, easy, obvious path and boom, it's done. And it's like, guys, I have never experienced that in anything I've done. Everything is actually really hard, and most of the time I don't even know what I'm doing. So therefore, I don't even know what smart looks like. And so for me, the only way I can learn how to work smart is by working very, very hard, very, very fast, and knowing that there's no shortcuts. And then when I finally figure out what smart is, when I work smart and work hard and work fast, it is much better. The path is, for most people, is going to be a hard one. The phrase should be work hard, get smart. Let me pause here and question what this video is about. The fundamental question is, how should you deal with your 20s? And what have I learned? In one line, I would say that there is no perfect way to live your 20s. Anyone who says otherwise hasn't actually lived them. Because this decade, it will humble you. It will seduce you. It will trick you into thinking you've figured it out, only to get punched 6 months later. And the truth is, you don't get to win both sides. You either live them up, chasing highs, stories, spontaneity, and risk, becoming a 30-year-old with no real skills, or you walk them up, chasing goals, metrics, discipline, and risk, becoming a 30-year-old who forgot to feel anything at all. You can either be underlived or underskilled. Take your pick. There are no do-overs. But if I had to choose, if I had to place my bet, I would always choose the one who worked it up. Because most people who lived it up in their 20s wake up one day in their 30s and realize that they weren't even living their own dream. They were living the one Instagram fed them. Or even worse, the one their parents silently wanted for them. Travel here, try this, be free. But freedom without purpose is not freedom, right? That's drift. And the brutal part, you get to 30 and realize you didn't really live it up. And you didn't work it up either. Now you're just broke, lost, behind. But let me be clear, working it up does not mean being perfect. In fact, I would argue your 20s should be filled with as many failed experiments as possible. You should be falling on your face often, because the only way to find out what works is to find out everything that does not. People see the version of me now, cracked bits Pilani, top placements, 100k plus YouTube subscribers, brands chasing. But what you don't see, the wreckage underneath, the failed agency idea I had with a friend, the dead podcast I tried to launch with Ishan Sharma, the odd freelance projects that never made it past a week one, the failed products, the unread newsletters, the YouTube videos that never saw the light of the day. That's the iceberg. That's the part no one claps for. Let me put it this way. If I told that after 7 failed relationships, you'd find the one, wouldn't you want to get through the first 7 as fast as humanly possible. It's the exact same process here. The faster you fail, the faster you learn what actually fits. And this is crucial, only if you don't make the same mistake twice. Now, this is one of the most underrated habits of the top 0.1%. They do not repeat mistakes. You will be shocked how many people do. Your boss tells you once, don't send an email like that again, and yet you do. Your client gives feedback and the same issue comes up the next week. It's not because people don't care, it's because people don't internalize. They keep telling themselves, I will fix it the next time, instead of asking, why did I let it happen again? And let's be honest, you have probably gone back to that one girl, that one situationship, even after knowing it was a bad idea. So did I. But that's how time gets wasted, not in the failures, but in the repetition of them. Because failure is absolutely fine, but familiarity with failure, that's fatal. You can live underlived, you can be underskilled, but the one thing you cannot afford to be is unaware. The world belongs to the optimist, because if you are going to do anything big, you have to believe that it can happen, otherwise it never will. There's an interesting quote which says that the cynics get to be right and the optimists get to be rich. 99% of the times right and 100% wrong. So experiment, fail fast on your face, just don't fall the same way twice. That's how you compress decades of growth into just a few years. I think you have to talk about the next thing is don't hit the reach. See, we have all seen these videos of podcasts where they talk about mindset, scaling 10 times, building in the public, while the same people are sipping like artisanal coffee in some 8 crore villa that their father bought them. And I used to also think in the same way, oh, of course you made it. You started at the 80th floor. You never had middle class pressure, the guilt of ordering two coffees, or the fear of missing one placement and screwing your whole family savings. Yeah, I've been there. I get it. It's easy to say fuck the rich. It feels justified, clean, like it's like a moral self-defense. But here's the paradox. Nobody wants to admit you hate them, but every move you are making is to become them. You want financial freedom, you want leverage, you want to take your parents on a vacation and not check the price tag. You want to do cool things without asking for permission, but you can't chase that life while holding resentment for everyone who's already living it. That's a broken energy system. So recently I saw this reel of Rajamani. He was explaining how he scaled his content empire by layering it on top of his dad's existing business. Now the comment section, brutal. Nepo kid. Bro, your daddy gave you crores. Must be nice. But here's the thing. Even if his dad took it from 0 to 1, he still took it from 1 to 10. Do you have any idea how hard that is? Building anything is hard. But building on top of legacy, that triggers even more pressure because the floor isn't yours. You didn't build it. Now you have to justify your existence on top of it. You don't get to fuck it up. And here's the bigger truth. It's all levels. Some people are building from 0 to 1, some from 1 to 10, some from 10 to 100. Each jump has its own problems, its own mental tax. So what are you doing by shaming someone at level 6 while you're still at level 1? Does putting that sort of a negative comment bring you closer to like a level 2? And before you even type another comment under someone else's reel, just ask yourself, what exactly are you proud of here? That you have shamed someone with more leverage than you? That you won an argument in the comment section? You didn't gain wisdom. You did not even gain wealth. You just drained yourself emotionally and called it justice. That's not power, that's projection. So don't hate the rich, learn from them, compete with them, build better than them if you can. But don't pretend that bitterness is moral superiority, because hate does not build anything, only work does. And since we're discussing building things, I want to know what you think of owning something versus working for someone. Because interestingly, recently I was having dinner with a close friend, brilliant guy, razor sharp mind, working at a top startup, earning really well respected, part of a team, building something genuinely exciting. As we spoke, I saw it, that rare light in the eyes of someone who actually enjoys the job, not tolerates, love. He talked about the mission, the culture, the project, and I was really happy for him, truly. That kind of alignment is very rare. But then I asked a simple question. Is it yours? He paused. I mean, no, I don't own equity, he said. But I feel ownership over my work. That moment kind of stayed with me, because here's what I believe. Everyone needs something of their own, not because you need to make money out of it, not because you need to even scale it, but because in a world where most people are renting their time for someone else's dream, having a sliver of space that belongs to you kind of makes you human. It could be a YouTube channel no one watches, an art page with 56 followers, a newsletter, a garden, a side project, a script. It does not have to make any money. It does not have to even go viral. It just has to be truly yours, 100% equity. Here's the truth you won't hear in most self-help reels. If you don't have a vision, you will be hired to fulfill someone else's. And I say this, someone who has a job, a 9 to 5. Meetings, stand-ups, reports, reviews. See, I'm not anti-job. In fact, I think a great job can be one of the best places to grow. But even inside that job, I have this burning belief you need a corner of the world that you don't have to ask permission to build. Something no one can fire you from, something that isn't based on performance reviews, something that speaks to you even when no one else is listening. And that leads us to one of the biggest questions of our time: employment versus ownership. Should you work under someone? Should you start something of your own? What's the right move? And the truth, it's nuanced. See, not everyone is meant to start a company at the age of 22. Instagram has turned entrepreneurship into an aesthetic. Digital nomads with laptops by the beach selling courses on how to sell courses. But real ownership isn't just a laptop and a dream. It's blood, framework, systems, equity, tax laws, sleepless nights, and emotional risk. So before you jump, ask yourself, am I really good at something? Not passionate, not curious, skilled. If yes, then maybe it's time. But if not, then there's no shame in staying employed if you're learning with intent. Because a good job is like a fucking master class in structure, in team dynamics, in execution. You learn how vision becomes tasks, how leaders break goals into actions. You learn process, you learn patience. And over time, if you're smart, you save money, you build capital, you sharpen your skill. And eventually, you don't start from zero again, you start from leverage. Okay, let me give you a roadmap that just works. Step 0, you are an employee. You sell a skill, say you're a backend developer. You make a decent living. Step 1, you become really good at that skill, a subject matter expert. Now you package your expertise as a productized service. Maybe you work with 5 clients a month instead of 1 company. Even at this point, you're still trading time for money, but now you control the rules. Now the step 2 would be you build systems, templates, SOPs, a small team. You start consulting, coaching, layering value. Now the step 3, you start building tech, a SaaS tool, a product, a platform, something that scales without your direct time. See, now you are in the asymmetric game. You work once and it prints value 100 times over. Now that's the power of ownership. Not just creative control, but true leverage. I was out recently at this beautifully designed fine dine restaurant with a couple of my friends. Everyone was admiring the ambience, the plating, the desserts. But my brain? I was calculating the cost of the interior, the real estate rent, the footfall economics of being next to a more popular restaurant with an hour-long waiting list, the menu engineering, the per table revenue. And I realized something deep. Most people consume, very few people think like producers. And if you want to win this game, like truly win, you need to make that shift from reacting to creating, from admiring the dish to owning the kitchen. So whether you're just getting started or years into your career, make space for something that's yours. Doesn't matter if it's big, doesn't matter if it's profitable. What matters is that when you wake up on a Sunday, no alarms, no deadlines, no bosses, you still have something that calls to you. So there's 2 different constructs before you get into building your own shit. First, you have to understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, people often, I have seen this debate every day that while America of the world are building state-of-the-art AI models, India is still doing 10-minute groceries. I think that's an extremely flawed argument. Simply because India has a very different problem to solve right now because it's a developing nation. And America, being a developed nation, have very different problem to solve. You have to understand something called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that also kind of loosely applies to your life in general. In the lowest of the ladder, there are physiological needs like you have access to good air, food, water, shelter. Now, if you're someone watching this video in a tier 3 town in India without a job, with a loan that your father left you with, obviously I can't tell you to go follow your passion because passion won't solve your problem, brother. So understand the level of problem that you're you're kind of in a position right now. I think getting a job and actually not following your passion is the right solution for you. It's a right move for you, absolutely right move for you. And in the contrast, let's say you're watching this video, you're in a tier 1 city, you have everything sorted, you have built enough capital to take you at least a couple of years forward, and you really don't find meaning and spark in your job right now. You want to build something of your own, or technically calling follow your passion. It might actually be a good option for you right now because the inner spark, the inner energy, the inner drive is something that's killing you. It's something that you don't have in a job right now, and it's probably killing you from inside. I think it's an excellent move for you to follow your passion. So the argument that follow your passion is extremely nuanced. And I would say, don't follow your passion. Follow your strength. Follow what you are good at. Follow what feels work for others but play for you. Follow your unfair advantage. I know, that sounds stupid. Because if you stop 1,000 successful people and ask, hey, do you love what you do? They will probably say yes. And so the world reverse engineers that and decides, the secret must be do what you love and success will follow. But if you're an engineer, a thinker, a pattern spotter, correlation isn't causation. It might be because that doing what you love leads to success, but it might also be that being successful makes you fall in love with what you are doing. Because success feels good, being validated feels really good, getting paid, appreciated, known, it rewires you, and you start to believe, it was always my passion, when maybe you just became really, really good at it. I think passions are very slippery and fleeting things. At 21, you're passionate about anime. At 23, maybe K-pop. At 24, suddenly it's startups. And at 26, you're all about mindfulness and travel. Which one should you really follow? Exactly. You're trying to pick a career out of a moving target, and that's danger. Because the world tells you to follow the flame, but forgets that flames flicker. I think the better question to ask would be, what are you really good at? Now that's easier to know. Are you better at explaining or executing? Are you better with systems or with people? Are you naturally detail oriented or more of a big picture builder? These are hardwired inclinations, not seasonal passions. And here's the magic. When you do something you're great at and that greatness helps other people, because now you're not just taking from the world anymore, you are contributing, you're giving back. And I kind of feel that follow your passion is a very me-centered philosophy. What do I love? What do I feel excited by? What gives me joy? But the longer you live, the more you realize what you take from the world matters far less than what you give back to it. Because passion fades, but contribution compounds. The people who felt most fulfilled in their 40s, 50s and 60s aren't the ones who chased joy. I think they are the ones who chased impact. So maybe the real advice isn't follow your passion. Maybe it's follow your contribution. Find the thing you're good at, so good that it solves real problems, makes life easier, gives people hope and clarity or beauty. That's what will feed you in the long run. Because that's what the world remembers. Not what made you happy for a season, but what you built that helped someone else grow. That way, sooner or later, you get to be on top. But that brings us to the question again, how do you even reach the top 1%? How do you minimize the struggle and move faster? How do you create an ecosystem that puts you in that top 1%? And for this, I think you have to consider the most critical component of this ecosystem. The people. At the top, people aren't working harder. They are networking better. And I know networking sounds like this cringe LinkedIn buzzword or some fake smile coffee chit chat culture people do in hotel lobbies wearing blazers too tight for their bodies. But real networking is the purest form of leverage today. It's actually knowing who to call when YouTube, ChatGPT and Google does not just cut it. I will give you a simple example. Let's say I'm a creator trying to get brand clients. Most people would Google best cold email template or ask ChatGPT for 10 ideas. It's what we have been taught. DIY your way to answers. But if you have built even a tiny sliver of social capital, you shortcut the maze. You reach out to someone like Saksham, who literally runs a full-blown agency where cold mailing is the bread and butter. So instead of just guessing what works, I just drop him a voice note. Bro, Buzz, what's been killing lately? Just send me that one line that actually works. That one line is worth millions in worth and has hours and hours of back-tested data. That's the real currency. And the thing about social capital is you can't withdraw from an account you have never deposited into. And if you're young and starting out, stop waiting for someone to ask for value. Give it unasked. Help someone rewrite their LinkedIn bio. Give feedback on their deck. Tag them in relevant opportunity. Connect to people who don't know they need each other, because every time you do that, you're earning chips in a game most people don't even know is being played. Now let me tell you something that's very personal to me. There was a time I was very broke, like really broke, and I would cling to every rupee like it was an oxygen. Like, don't spend unnecessarily, why help someone if there's no return, let me keep all the money to myself. And weirdly, the more I hoarded, the less I actually made. Because the truth is, money is never the primary resource, people are. One of my editors, Kunal, was managing his full-time job and editing our videos late into the night on a beta Windows laptop that crashed more than it saved. Now, technically, we weren't even profitable yet. The channel wasn't making enough to justify expenses like that, but I took the leap of faith anyway. Gifted him a MacBook, not because it was a financial investment, but because I believed in what he could do when his tool did not limit his imagination. He didn't have to worry about his laptop heating up. Now he could think about cuts, sound design, story flow. And that's what real investing in people looks like. And believe me when I say that goodwill compounds faster than money. That brings me to the next point, which I took a while to internalize, is the fact if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you have to go together. So stop asking what do I get out of helping them and start asking what kind of circle do I want to build around me, because someday when you're out of options, your circle will be the difference between a pause and a breakthrough. I will give you another example. I was once talking to Chandan Perla, co-founder of Podcast Circle, a studio that produces podcasts for giants like NPCI, HSBC, Aditya Birla, Apollo Hospitals. So we were sitting across each other when he casually opened his phone and just started scrolling through his contacts. Name after name, co-founders, startup executives, creators, CMOs, investors. And then it kind of hit me. This is real leverage. Not the number of followers, not even the revenue, but the phone book. Let me ask you something. If you lost your job today, considering you have one, could you call 5 people who would help you land another one within a month? If not, you are not building wide enough. Because at the end of the day, your real resume is the people who would pick up your call. Because in the long run, the size of a phone book might just be more powerful than the size of a skill set. You can master every tool, you can learn every framework, you can grind every day until your hands bleed. But if you don't learn how to build with people, you will always be building alone. And alone, you can only go so far. But with the right people, there's no ceiling. There's an irony in life that hits you only after you have been hated on enough times. And it's that hate never comes from above. It never comes from someone who's actually ahead of you. It never comes from someone who's already done what you're trying to do. It never comes from the people you think are too big to notice you. Because the ones who are ahead are too busy building, too evolved to criticize the beginner, too secure to feel threatened. And I've lived this truth. See, 4 years ago when I started making content, it was messy, experimental, raw, but it was mine. And I remember very clearly, very vividly till this date, there was this guy in my college. He looked at me with this half smile and said, "Why are you wasting time with YouTube and shit? Go do some DSA, go sit for placements. Stop wasting time. Content won't take you anywhere." He wasn't just being skeptical, he mocked it. And in that moment, a part of me almost kind of believed him because there was no examples. But I still did not stop. Fast forward to today, I cracked a job with a package double what he earns in his domain only. And more importantly, I have an inbound job offer close to 1 crore per annum. That's base, that's not package. From a company I didn't even apply to. Now this isn't about proving him wrong. It's about understanding where hate comes from. It's never from someone who's above you. Really think about it. Have you ever seen someone with ripped, jacked physique mock someone for starting their fitness journey? Never. Have you seen a successful founder thrash someone for trying to launch their first startup? No. Have you seen a 1 million subscriber content creator leave hate comments on someone's very first video? Exactly, you haven't. Because hate does not come from above. It comes from across, from behind, from people who stopped and can't stand that you didn't. So, if you're trying something new, a channel, a company, a pivot, a reinvention, and someone's laughing at you, know this to the depth of your heart. They're not ahead, they're not above, they're just loud. And loud does not mean wise, loud does not mean right. It just means they're projecting something that has nothing to do with you. You are a mirror and your courage is reflecting their stagnation. This is it. This is my final piece of advice for you. If you want to influence, like real influence, not views, not clout, not vanity metrics, but real impact over people's life, then you have to get this part right. Everything might be for sale except your morals, not your ethic, not the values that make you sleep peacefully at night. A lot of you probably found me during my college content days, the Bispilani videos, the hacks, the admission grind. And I will be honest, that niche blew up. There was so much money in that edtech space. But when I started to see behind the curtain, it kind of made me sick. Big creator people with massive reach were charging 3 to 4 lakhs per integration to promote colleges they knew weren't good for the kids. Promoting courses that were borderline scams. Directing scared, confused 16-year-olds towards decisions that would cost them years just for a payout. And here's the thing, I got those emails too. If you can get me one admission, we will pay you 4 lakh. But I deeply knew that every view that turned into a conversion was not a click. It was someone's career, someone's life, someone's parents' entire life savings. And I could not do it. Even if it meant leaving most lucrative content niche I've ever fumbled into. Because if there's one decision I'm proud of, it's the one where I chose peace of mind over payouts. And I hope when your time comes, you will do the same. Okay, let me leave you with the final lesson. Share your goddamn work, even if no one's watching. Because they are just not saying anything. That's the weird thing about the internet. People don't always engage. They don't always like. They don't always reply. But they see. They remember. They bookmark. They think of you when the time is right. That's how I got my first big 30,000 motion design gig. Not from an Upwork post, not from cold DMs, not even from an application. I was just posting my process, sharing designs, behind the scene edits, no audience, no strategy. And one day, 2 co-founders at a fintech company needed a motion designer. One asked the other, "Do you know anyone good?" The other said, "Yeah, there's this guy I've seen silently watching on Instagram stories. He's always posting design shit." That guy was me. Not because I applied, but because I showed up consistently enough for someone else to associate me with the work. That's the key. You don't need 1,000 cold emails. You just need to own one idea so deeply that someone thinks of it, they think of you. So comment down below what you think of obsession, following your passion, or even if you're building something on your own. I want to debate your views on what I have learned and whether or not this helps you bridge the gap between where you are right now and what you can be at my age probably.